Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to the Wargame tournament. What I have for you today is a very exciting match. We are looking at Freepoint playing Blue 4 versus GSI playing on Red 4. Now, the GSI guys asked me to do a shout out to their YouTube channel, so link down below in the description for that. They are a German Wargame community and they want to help Wargame grow in Germany. So if you're a German player and you want to have a couple of guys to talk to in your own nationality, your own language, then have a look at their channel, and of course they also feature their games themselves. Now, this gameplay is going to be difficult for GSI. GSI has one colonel on their team, dude. Blue 4 has a brigadier general and a major general. We got Krot, Pakuda, and Enetic. This is, let's say, not good for morale. When you see people with these high ranks, you're going, holy shit, there's going to be a rough fight. But undeterred, GSI has to fight them. Now, we have, of course, the standard limitations that apply to the tournament. You can find all the rules down below in the link in the description. And to give you a quick summary, you have 3,000 starting points for the entirety of your team. So that's 1,000 apiece. But you have to get a CV, because Wargame mandates so. And that means that you effectively have about 900 points available, or a little less even, if you decide to go with a more expensive command vehicle. And then there is the limitation of having a FOB, which is going to set you back another 75 points. United States and USSR are not allowed, nor are coalitions. Israel is allowed, for those of you wondering. For the OP discussion, please refer to a different video, because I've already gone in depth about why I do allow Israel. So I will not be answering any questions about that here. What we have over here is Finland. Toby Nambur is playing the XA-185s. We got, let's see, Cyrox Mi-17 could be Polish. Again, I'm pretty terrible at Redfor units. Yeah, the Moderna, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, that's Czech. And dude, that's a Past Praga. Let's check in when I can actually see the flags. So many hours in Wargame and I still don't know what units belong to what nation. I still suck at this game. Pakuda is a bit easier. PBV 302s. We got AKV 105s. This is Sweden. Stridswagen 103B. This is the command tank. We have a Bekan 1C, again from Pakuda. Krot, Tigers, and Enetic with the Lynx AH7, so he's playing the British. Now they're going to be making use of the AML-60 mortar. Not particularly damaging, but very effective at throwing down a smokescreen very quickly. I'm seeing 2 Leclerc, actually. That's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Quad stack of FE-432s at medium veterancy, so I think potentially Fusiliers. Fox, Stormer, Field Array. Where are these guys going to go? Krot's going to put his CV over here, and he's going to try and push this way, I think. We got Enetic putting a command vehicle over there in Charlie. Pakuda moving on to Bravo. Cyrox putting a CV in Alpha. And we have, oh, it seems like Enetic's already planning an attack on Hotel, and Toby is going to put his CV over there. Alright, let's move on. What does Redfor deploy? T-72 M1Ms. 185 KTs, of course. A mortar to smoke them all up. Neva M1. Over here we got Surgai mods. Lots of Finnish forces and support units to try and assist as quickly as possible to secure these woods. Bravo is just that big infantry grinder. And, a triple M84AN. That's going to make life pretty interesting. That's a high rate of fire, decent frontal armor, pretty punchy gun. A triple stack of those is going to quickly negate any motorized and mechanized vehicle. Not necessarily any tank, because those Leclercs can give these guys a run for their money. 22 AP, 21 frontal armor, better rate of fire. Arguably though, ooh, that looks painful. my money would still be on the triple stack here. Because they can spot the Leclercs beyond the spawning range of the Leclerc. Leclercs only have, what is it, medium optics? Yeah, medium. And these guys have very good optics and medium stealth. So they can dictate when and where there's going to be a fight. We got Enetic dropping off his SAS, or as the guys on my Discord have now come to name them, the SAS. Courtesy of Sean Connery in The Rock. The SAS are being deployed over here to the industrial area where they're about to run into Cyrox's infantry. He also has a strop over there, making sure there's nothing going to be flanking this position. The British, however, are getting support from a Tiger. I think that this is going to be mostly an infantry clash, though. Let's see what's happening amid. Dude is trying to rush in. His reservists are having a particularly rough time getting to this tree line as the Norlandsjäger, with their recoilless rifle, are keeping these guys at bay. And not just them, also their vehicles. M84EN triple stacks being smoked up. Nice use of smoke here, allowing these guys to operate pretty aggressively. So they have a bit of mobile cover, and that ties in very nicely with their good maneuverability. It seems that Blue 4 is pushing out hard over here with the double Leclerc. I don't think they've fired a single shot yet. 44 rounds, I'm not seeing any logistics, so they should be fine. Enetic's actually using territorials. Reservists. Interesting. Conqueror's unit locking onto a target and seemingly finding the FV432 in its sights. The TO, undaunted, push on. Trying to get closer to the Norlandsjäger, but they're not having any of that. And to make their lives even more miserable, Blue 4 is throwing in AMOS fire support. So this is going to be a very quick end to the TO over here. There's even a Viggen flying in. The Viggen is armed with a cluster bomb, and I think it was targeted at the M84EN and then lost line of sight, so it didn't actually drop its ammunition. Didn't drop its payload there. That could have been very bad news for the M84EN, and dude is pulling them back. Now, from Blue 4's perspective, they seem to be doing pretty well. They have established a front line in Bravo. They have, of course, command over Charlie and Fox. They have a shaky position over here in Gulf, with territorials moving forward and immediately getting shot to shit by the M84ENs. A Super Galeb manages to kill off one Leclerc. This is going to be an important moment. That is going to come back to haunt Blue 4 later, probably, because that's a significant loss. Now, the fight over here, the SAS are gone and the Specialny Jednotki have survived. This opens up a pretty large flank potential for Redfor and makes Blue 4 pretty vulnerable, but they still have a Fox vehicle over here. So, if something moves, they might see it coming. Over here we have the Erics, which are trying to flank. And they seemingly have already shot down one Lynx. Yep, that's one Lynx A87 20mm. They're definitely outside of the range of the other one. Points-wise, it's 28 for blue and 1 for red. T-72 M1Ms are parked. Can Blue foresee those? Yes, they can. That could be bad news. Leclerc is probably looking for a shot there. These guys have been stunned. Or rather, one of them has. The other one's fine. A bit worried, but overall alright. And the Leclerc seems to be trying to take shots at it. Doing some damage to it. Again, more smoke being thrown up by the AML-60s. Allowing the Leclerc to push forward a bit more. And they did get another shot, and that's one T-72 M1 down. That's a pretty important loss for Redfor. And there goes the second one. Leclerc, completing its mission, pulls back into the smokescreen and disappears, before that Super Galeb can take another shot at it. Now it's Redfor's time to move. M84EN's pushing forward, and then at the last moment reconsidering, because it seems like the Leclerc has gone. And that means that these guys don't really find the target that they were looking for initially. Both teams are making very nice use of smokescreens over here to allow for very aggressive maneuvering with their tanks. Commander Para are about to approach the Granakari, and they do outnumber them. But the Granakari might get support from mortars. At the same time, the Commando Para might get support from mortars. Yep, there we go. They got mortared. Super Gleb flies in. I think it took down a transport here. Because the Leclerc's still alive, and I think that was the main target. Krot has even turned off all the weapons on the Leclerc to make sure it doesn't give its position away. Now the Erics have pushed on. I think that Lynx... Where'd that Lynx go? It's no longer on the screen, so it might have been maneuvering to flank, and then... Yeah, this Sergei has wasted 100 rounds of ammo. So probably found it. Pakuda using his empty TGB-13s to scout out against the enemy. Setting up more of a picket line than anything else, because poor optics will not spot a reconnaissance squad. But better to have them and not need them than the other way around. Redfor throwing in some Bekan 1C shells, hoping to find the command vehicle, but they're hiding all the way back there. So they're pretty fine. Krot is reinforcing the position in Gulf. An ATGM unit over here could be really bad news for the M84ANs over there. At this point, the battle can very much go either way. Neither party has a deciding advantage, although Blue 4 is spawning in another CV. And if they get that CV into Gulf, then they're going to start ticking points. It is, however, a move that could cause issues later. As yes, they have points, or rather, yes, they will be getting conquest points. At the same time, you could argue, well, that means that you just don't have those points from the CV in order to get more combat units. And yes, you'd be right. So it's going to be a trade-off. Tiger Haps seems to be trying to find the Specialny and then disengages. It is about half ammo. 22 out of 44 snap, 2 out of 4 Mistrals. We have another fairly sizable smokescreen over here at Gulf. I'm not sure who exactly put that up, because I was paying attention over here. I'd say it's more to the advantage of Red 4 than to Blue 4, because Blue 4 would be blinding their own Commando Para and disengaging with their Norlandsjäger. They simply wouldn't be able to fire. Speaking of firing, Neva M1 fires, kills off a helicopter. Now it's going to have to move, because Blue 4 already put an attack marker on it, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to find that that Bekan 1C is already acquiring the target and trying to lob shells at the last known position of the Neva M1. M84AN triple stack, once again pushing forward, trying to eradicate some of the Norlandsjäger from these buildings. And they are getting their damage in, but slowly, because the Norlandsjäger are very much entrenched in these buildings. Mortar putting up a bit more smoke, allowing the M84ANs to push aggressively here. And the Leclerc is coming out to play. Now, I believe that the jet got shot down. The Super Gleb. So they don't have that asset anymore to deal with that Leclerc. Similarly, I don't know exactly how Red 4 or how Blue 4 is going to expect to deal with that triple stack of M84ANs. Because it's going to be difficult for them if they don't have an HGM plane. And even if they do, they have an ITO 96 and a Neva M1, which is already being resupplied. So Red 4's anti-air is pretty potent. What you got there? Eric's in the middle. Between TGB-13s, FAB-2013s and Chasseur. Interesting. Bekan 1C throwing up more artillery. And maybe just fishing. But effectively so, because the XAD 5KTs are taking a pretty heavy beating here. They're great vehicles, but not particularly well shielded against artillery impacts like that. At least the Yekeri are still alive. Another group of reservists is being sacrificed to the French and the Norwegians. And once again, the M84ANs are trying to get a hit. This time around, the HGM Milan F3 team is joining this fight. And they are, well, pretty much as you can expect from Milan F3 team, missing most of their shots. At least they're picking their target. What are you even trying to hit? SpaceX? What is this? My god, the Milan teams can be really dreadful units. Now, the commando pair are dead. TO are still moving forward. MD4AN's pulling back. I think they might have to go for a fuel run, because they're running a little low, and you don't want these guys to get subtly stuck somewhere. Blue 4 still has 2 Milan teams, which are very happy to be encountering those MD4ANs. If they can get a shot off, of course. Smoke screens are being put up. This was the smoke screen by red, and blue is hitting it with HE to make sure that anything that's still in there is going to get properly motivated to get the hell out. Now, speaking of motivated, red is going to have to get in here, because blue just capped it. M84ANs are looking for a fight again. They're not going for fuel just yet. OT M5s are being pushed forward as HGM magnets with effect, because there goes one. And the Milans are being turned off. Now, we have an optical failure on one of the M84ANs, but the other ones, of course, can take up the slack and immediately spot for them. And once again, the smoke is coming in to shield those M84ANs. HGMs are being thrown towards the BMP too, but all of them are missing. This is such a light standoff here. 20 Panzerskeete versus 36 Yikeri. And some supporting vehicles. Blue is at a +1. Red, what's your move? And a tick circling around with the Tornado F2. Dissuading Blue 4 from getting any kind of HGM plane or bomber in here to try and dislodge Blue 4. And more importantly, Blue 4's +1. I did see a command tank here, T-55A Copa. It's not moving. Could be going into Bravo. That's one of the few units that could actually survive the Bacan 1C for a while. Over here, Blue 4 knows that something's up. They probably spotted the S10M. It would be nice if if Red 4 could push in here to try and put some pressure on this side. Because this is mostly being defended just by the MX-10RC. But the Leclerc is going to be there in a second if it needs to be. The Fox is being detected by the Specialny Jednotki. And they know it. So Enetic is immediately pinging, okay, they must be over there. And he's correct. But at this point it's a bit of a gridlock, because the Fox can't really do anything. And the Specialny Jednotki can't approach the Fox, because they'll be detected. Over here, Enetic also knows that something's up. And here comes the Bacan 1C again. This time hitting the exact position of the Specialny Jednotki. They're forcing themselves out of the building. Jumping back one block, hoping to stay alive that way. It's not going to be easy. How are the M84ANs? Ah, yeah, now they're back at the base. Refueled, resupplied, almost fully repaired. There's the T-55A Copa. It is now in control of Bravo, but Blue is sitting at a firm 104 points, with Red just on 3. So Redfor has some catching up to do. Now looking at the map, I'd say Red might have potentially a few more units than Blue. But it's hard to exactly pinpoint. AML-60s have made a quick trip to the base, taken on a new supply of mortar shells, and they're once again ready to smoke up anybody who needs it, or deliver some light HE to HE shelling on targets that do require it. How many 4Ns are on the move again? Over here, is that Krot? I can barely make out that marker. I think it's Krot. He's saying, hey, there's something here. The Conquerors team have been detected, and they're going to get wiped out any second now. That's a lot of mortar shells that are coming in. It's just... No, it's not just the AML, it's also the AMOS. There. Now this Bacan 1C has been firing so much, and this fob has been drained by other units potentially as well, meaning that the fob is almost empty. Fortunately they have another one, and I'd say it has been worth it. because the Bekan 1C has been doing a lot of work. Now, they are trying to shell the position where they think Redfor CV might be, and of course, Redfor doesn't have a lot of options. T-55 is getting a bit beaten up, but unlike infantry CVs or APCs, this one can actually take it. Now, we did have an engagement between the Snezka and the Fox. Snezka is currently moving in. So are the Specialny Jednotki. The other ones are falling back, and there's a resupply vehicle on the move. Trying to get these guys another batch of fresh recruits. The Snezka could be a very useful asset in order to get the command infantry away. But they can't see it yet. They only know that it's... There we go, now they know where it is. Snezka immediately opens up. Mortar are throwing up a smokescreen in front of the command infantry, meaning that the Snezka cannot attack. And at this point, they're deep inside the tree line. Quick thinking there by Krot. Well done. IKV 105 comes out to play. This is going to be a potentially big hazard for the Snezka, depending on the operating range. This thing has 16 AP and good accuracy, so it's likely to one-shot the Snezka. Whereas the Snezka can penetrate 2 AP, and that's not enough. They did do some damage against the IKV 105, but not enough. So Redfor is now opening up another flank there. Chasseurs are currently looking for the Eriks. The Eriks are only allowed to fire with their anti-tank weapon. So I hope that these guys are going to pay attention to the Eriks, because this could be an important moment here. Over here we have an engagement between red and blue. Eriks are moving forward. Panzerskite are trying to keep the enemy at bay. But there are quite a lot of them. Panzerjäger are pushing forward. Not so much to engage the Panzerskite, but their transports. The 302s are down. Where are the tanks? Here are the tanks. The M84ANs are on the move again. There's really not that much going on as far as the Blue Force defense here. And, interestingly, Redfor is also making a flank here. 2 XA-185 KTs rushing forward. They're getting shot at, however, by an EPBV 3022. And I don't think that Red can see it. At least they weren't firing back at it. The Leclerc, or a Leclerc, but I think it's the same one, considering that they're relatively hard to replace. He's now moving over to the other side, hoping to assist the Blue 4 infantry that's in contact with the enemy, but it's not going to be easy in this area. Over here, the Specialny Jednotki. Oh, they're not getting support from the SA yet. IKV 105 has supposedly wiped out the other Specialny Jednotki here. The command infantry is still safe. Neither party is gaining any kind of points, but Redfor is definitely making their move now. They have to, they only have 11 minutes left. More mortar shells are being dropped. This is just the AML, so it's not that lethal, but you still don't really want your infantry to get shelled too much. The Neva M1 is rushing in here. That's interesting. And the M84ANs are playing a very dangerous game, just prancing through these woods, which they are hopefully not going to encounter anything. We've got some Panzerskite holdouts behind enemy lines. That could be very dangerous for that command tank. It is just 3 guys, but they do carry the AT-4, 19 armor piercing, and this thing has 7 frontal armor. It's just a T-55. If they can wipe out that tank, that could be a problem to replace. In the meanwhile, Redfor is making waves in Blue 4 territory. Charlie is coming up. And the M84ANs are keeping the Norlandsjäger away from the Eriks. Yep, they found it. T-55 command tank has been hit once. It's returning fire. Putting the Panzerskite at 1. And the Panzerskite do it. They kill off the command tank. Jägeri are finally catching up, but too little too late. They'll probably win that encounter, but the damage has been done. And Blue Force once again at +1. Time to get these guys out of here and put Redfor at a +1 by killing off the command in Charlie. 6 Jägeri against an HQ section. Although that's what it looks like, that's not necessarily what it is, because it is entirely possible that we can have support coming in from the Leclerc. And yes, that was my Facebook ping. I'm sorry, I forgot to close my Facebook tabs. Specialny Etnotki currently inside of Foxtrot, but they're not really that capable of pushing out just yet. The HQ section is still getting withered down, but once again, there is smoke being thrown up so that the Yekeri cannot finish off the HQ section. But they're jumping from building to building. Oh, there we go. They can still see it. HQ section is down. Redfor +1. Krot's pushing back in with a bunch of Legionnaires. Redfor is at a +1, but they only got 8 minutes. It's going to be tight. Yekeri pushing forward, getting wiped out by the VAP 2013. Panzer Yekeri pushing up through Charlie. Not seeing any new Blue 4 CVs, with good reason. Arguably, if you want to play this risky as Red 4 and you want a +2, you could move the CV from Alpha, the command infantry here, and put it over there in Charlie. Because then you get a +2. But temporarily you're going to be bleeding points. Or actually, no, you're not going to be bleeding points. Now, they have also forced the command infantry over here to get on the move. Specialny Etnotki here are flanking the Ferret and their ATGM team. Immediately, once again, getting attacked by the mortars. MIAT getting attacked by the Crotal and getting killed off. They actually packaged up the command infantry again. Red 4 now to +2. Specialny Etnotki surviving the mortar shells. They're now going to rush in the Leclerc to try and deal with the Specialny. 20 AP versus 21 frontal armor. Unless they get a side shot, this is going to end very badly for the Specialny. Specialny are engaging, doing a tiny fraction of damage against the Leclerc. Leclerc opening up. 12 rounds a minute rate of fire is going to be killing off the Specialny Etnotki very quickly. They're trying to rush in, catching these guys before they manage to disappear again, and the Ferret spotting them. And that's going to be the end. Specialny Etnotki dead. But there's another threat over to the right. It's the MD4AN triple. And these guys are rushing in, looking to get shots on whatever they can find. And they're currently trying to assist the Panzerjägerie in a fight against the Legionnaires. Now that fight's being handled, so we can have the MD4ANs go back into the fight again. And another Blue 4 CV is being forced to roll away from the fight. The Leclerc rushing back to its previous position, hoping to greet the triple stack of MD4ANs. And is also being smoked up and pulled back. The AT-105C rushing back to a position where it might find some cover over here in this tree line. The MD4ANs have been split up and then rejoined. Panzerjägerie versus Legionnaires, but there's another 8 new guys. These guys should take up the fight and push the Legionnaires out. And Blue 4 has once again captured this sector. I think both sides are very much approaching point exhaustion, to the sense that they just cannot afford to bring in any new units. Red has a pretty direct line to the command infantry, and dude's saying, this is where they are, get a move on. Although he's probably saying it in German. MD4ANs rushing forward, once again, finding the Crotal. First victim. Pinzgauer. There's not that much that Blue 4 can do to counter this. The Specialny Etnotki are moving in to help. But if that 105 is going to spot them first, then they're not going to be able to cross this bridge very easily. Alright, once again, the Red 4 infantry has pushed out the Blue 4 CV, putting Red at a +2 and actually getting close to overtaking Blue 4 in points. Even the command tank has fired a few rounds at this point. The command infantry is the real target here. And I think, yep, well, they did get the VAP 2013 at the last possible second. Tiger Hat coming in from Krot. Interesting. Looks to be the counter to the M84EN triple. Blue 4 has pulled their CV back to here, abandoning Gulf and taking refuge slightly behind the Leclerc with the command unit. That Neva has one missile left. One missile is more than enough to kill a Tiger. Uh-oh. Firing. Hit! And it kills it. Elite. Krot immediately puts an attack marker. Neva, not sitting around waiting to see if there's return fire, moves away from the firing position. Command infantry once again is coming back in. And once again under the cover of smoke. These guys are putting up such a good fight. Both sides. Blue 4 is being pushed hard. And they still manage to constantly put a CV back in there, but just throwing smoke and making sure that they have a little bit of cover for the command unit. Interestingly, if Blue 4 would go on the offensive here, there's really nothing that Red 4 has to counter it. One T-55M is not really going to stop a Leclerc. And then it's just a freeway to get to all the CVs here. But it is Red 4 who is making the play here. Dude, he's gonna rush 3 M84ENs once again into the group. The command infantry there. Toby knows that this is a command tank, or a tank. They found it, and they wiped it out. Red, once again at +2, thanks to Charlie being neutralized. And here we go. Blue 4 is making a push. Ferrets are pushing in. And it seems like Red 4 is getting a bit of predicted shells by the Bacan. It's not unexpected to find a CV over here. So they're shelling the CV position, pushing the +2 out from Red 4, and meaning that they don't take any more losses in points. Command infantry scurrying away from their position. And the Stormer wipes out the T-55. The command infantry takes it again. But they have just like 2 branches left to hide behind. Another shell flies in and it neutralizes the CV here. Jesus, this is really going back and forth. The triple stack of M84ENs has to make a move now. They are ahead by enough points though. But they probably still want to finish them off. They have to move their own CV. Which means that blue is actually back at +1. Stormer and Norlandsjäger are trying to find the CV, and the past Pragas, which were just a defensive unit, are now going to actually have to do their defensive duty. Otherwise, their prize, their CV, is going to be killed off. Tornado going down. M84EN's pushing forward. And I think they found the command tank and neutralized it. Putting, again, nobody at an advantage. Because there are just 2 sectors which are currently under control. Foxtrot for blue, Alpha for red. And it seems like that was the command vehicle. Ferret has actually killed the command vehicle, probably with a swing fire missile. So well, not each side has just 1 command unit left. 50 seconds on the clock. Leclerc is now trying to push back. Panzerjäger firing back at it. They managed to get the firing computer reset for the Leclerc, which drops its very good accuracy down to 12%. And dropping as the Leclerc backs off. The M84ENs are finally going to get some revenge against the Bacan 1C. This thing has been making life very difficult on Red 4 units of all types. And they can finally get a kill on it. And unlike some other howitzers, the Bacan 1C is not capable of doing direct fire. They've captured the fob. The other fob's empty. This M84EN could use some repairs, fuel and ammunition. But it's not getting any. Because it's still being pushed forward despite the match ending. 2 seconds left. That was a hell of a fight. Red 4 gaining a minor victory. And well, they managed to do it. They stood up against the Brigadier General and the Major General. This is a really tough team. These guys have gotten a lot of victories so far. And these guys, they just did it. I'd say Dude very much carried the team with his M84AN trio. And of course, both sides played very well with smoke. Now again, be sure to subscribe to the GSI channel and have a look at them if you are a German wargame player. You might like them. Link down below in the description. And link down below in the description as well to the tournament to see what sort of points each team has gathered. Now, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you like my vids, don't forget to subscribe. And if you really like my vids, please consider becoming a Patreon subscriber. And that's also linked down below in the description. You'd really be helping me out with that. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the fight. And I'll catch you guys soon for another battle.